created dating and sexual stereotypes from random rationalization with the failure of poverty, the drop in public attitude towards income homicides is regrettably normal. There's pervasive acceptance. Visibility has affected this space as well. We must challenge the militarization of academic spaces to create a match in the future. This entails a politics of vote, not citizens. The role of the ballot is to vote for the actually best ambitions of the future, free from disposability. Chart 13. Fundamentalists want to root out the defective consumers. They develop schools that are dead zones of the imagination, vast source of knowledge that needed by young people in ways to raise problems are being systematically destroyed. The American public has been turned to security addicts, exclusion, and suffering everywhere. This goal is the homeless, urban ghettos, jails. Critical thought is not considered dangerous and is subject to prosecution. Use of rapid individualism has created society throwaways that are with the people. It is at the level of educational intervention that a war has to be fought first. I hope it's no longer part of the discourse. Only jurisdictions is fair that no longer envisions how to match interact with democracy. We must have a crisis of power relations that needs to include a new political language if it is to be contested at the level of political struggle. Right? The authoritarian imagination machine complicit in the plunder of the environment and public goods. Americans need to protect the politics where public goods are demonized. African American youth become fodder for the military, prison, national publics, and police must. Politics must be connected with material mores. Intellectuals need to develop new vocabulary through which organized collective struggles can be developed through an effort to imagine the future and don't view the debate inquiry through a frame of real political consequences and luxus and status quo. Rather, should be comparison of worldviews. Jason 99 to allow real politics to influence morality, policy, and luxus and status quo. Accept the role of ethics as a vehicle for social change. Certain consequences are easy to find in abolition movement as we can. There were no arguments that made no compromise with the realities of the condemnation of slavery. Maybe we try to the moderate restrictions necessary to move more radical progress, but moral arguments are needed to provide and motivate even incremental change to achieve that goal. That's weird. The document says and they shape our view on consequences. Calhoun 3. The gun debate is about values. Those who share our self-interest worldview and those who adhere to a more hierarchical individualism. Once all of those econometrics will use the probably instead they may conceive the relationship between cultural orientations and beliefs of empirical facts. Beliefs about the cost effectiveness of response of society and surrounding cultural worldview as a whole. We cannot reach agreement about the consequences of gun control unless we can first come ground about what values gun laws ought to express. And here I'll demonstrate the net Cluck study on self-defense ridiculous to Phillips and Hughes 15. Cluck conducted a survey resulting in an estimate of 2.5 million defensive gun uses. The Clements has been gospel for gun advocates and other false first. There are social guides million by a second. There's the problem of gun owners responding strategically. There are even 3 million members of the NRA. Third is the risk positive from telescoping that produce at least 30% plot increase in false positive. So these sorts of biases prove inherent in reporting self-defense instances. Gun owners will have to protect themselves more than 100% of the time. Complex estimates make sense, and thus I affirm as a ban of private ownership of handguns like a ban in the United States. I will defend a ban implemented a mandatory buyback scheme where there are criminal gun possessions. I will also defend either the USFG or 50 states and DC, so will not defend alternative actors or competitive. The topic is about that. Just clarify CX. For too long, we've let NRA and their politicians practice society with fear. Gun culture normalizes daily violence and fortifies political responsibility. People are just now controlled now. So, 15 pervasive gun culture normalizes violence against black people, children fed into the industrial complex, and school pipeline, and others considered disposable. Public relations claim that guns are not the problem. The U.S. has 11 states for rated gun lobby that produces growing bills within single welfare. That's produce culture violence. Fear is one strategy. When you are constantly bombarded by the assumption that the government is the enemy, economic fear revolves the country, reinforcing belief that ownership is the only notion of safety. Gender fears are undermined. These include poverty, absence of healthcare. Politics become a violence undermined by politicians by the gun lobby. Murder has become something of a national pastime. Foreign countries forming millions of campaigns designed to expose children to guns at an early age, recruit them as lifelong gun enthusiasts. We want gun control that seems to manufacture and profit. And its core, at its core, gun ban represents a version of just gun violence. It affirms the local solidarity, contrary to the individual's vision of neoliberalism as we know in 2014. This debate is predicated on different worldviews. Those who support gun control base their position on an egalitarian solidarist worldview. Those who oppose gun control base their arguments on a more hierarchical individualist notion. Among those in the latter government is the indifferent number of trust self-reliant individuals in central authority as well as an optimal society. Hierarchy is simply natural byproduct of freedom. Minimizing government is thus a central objective of the field of agenda. This simply presumably means fiction, or if it's not individuals who are freely consuming the preference for able to meet their own needs and control their destinies. And a gun ban is key. A rupture of the neoliberal narrative forces a culture shift on Q15. Australia had 13 national games from 1979 to 1996, but not in 16 years. Politically, it's the Prime Minister is the Australian gun control. Today's support gun restrict Australia social and going back will not be tolerated. Australia hasn't had national games since 1996, but really protection gun. It's not because the guns are disappeared. The country has also experienced culture shift. Guns are not looking for self-defense, and they're simply not less guns in the country. Troubled individuals are constantly being reminded that guns are a means to adjust for given to the 10 US. And civil rights movement that laws can affect culture. Basket 15, many of those who gun control regulations that gun control runs deeper nation. Let's assume that issues untouchable because of deep culture roots. So this every social issue. Laws can be changed. We saw this during the civil rights movement. Southern white culture did eventually change, but followed rather than preceded the change in law. We have seen changes in same-sex couple, abortion, poverty, health insurance, some cases change. And a handgun ban will crush gun giants being done by the NRA. This is Chapter 13. The activity plays out as people support a large number of businesses which are in possession of firearms with seriously affecting this activity. And after use of violence, except in this market, Lafayette 2K, one time the FBI guns only the Alliance of them, Sicily criminals have to steal rather than those who produce legally, and they have to only get their stolen here. These numbers swell the number of guns available legally. Also, by surprise, guns are sure to be able to do private market supply guns and second market decrease in their cost of use, and this will diminish change will the same guns. Since changes from the most deadly crime decrease in legal guns will decrease homicides. Now, availability is sufficient for a leak. Altamore 10, but availability is influence assault and robbery rates. Cities with high gun availability will be characterized by assaults and robberies. Gun availability is found to be crime. Cities with high availability feel bold by the power advantage. Gun availability is the most critical. Now, the underview. First is athletes RBIs. Second one is net flexibility. Next is the ability class to use the layers. The athletes be able to build class to win on one layer 2. The athletes be more screening for time critical models. The athletes RBIs can be as well. Furthermore, the negative functionality the app is not listed that it has to be reciprocal in order to take away the structural burden. And the apps method is a question of educated hope. We are process that begins development of political language and went back to full sphere. This means material challenges are important. Row 15, developing discourse with 15 possible uses of educated hope. It's not enough without a discourse of hope. We can only realize these various citizens. Hope speaks to imagining a life and happens and provides a realistic sense of the limits of lofty vision of humanity possible. Discourse of possibility. Let's go for a productive solution. It is also crucial living in public spheres in which civic knowledge, scholarship, and social engagement for more rational grasping future seriously demands justice. The time has come to develop political language or reducing scope of income. Arguments about substitution method are not relevant because the indication should not be that we should preserve the status quo, but rather we should get rid of long legs as well, which means that the question is whether or not the app is a good idea. The answer is yes. Cards and can't believe it's like the last three cards, dude. Which ones? Last three cards.
Oh, I
Draw and the 2 uncut cards, those are cut.
Okay, and you read RBIs, right?
Yep. There was one analytic I sent here.
Okay. Wait, so you send other things aside from the RBI?
It was just this argument about how particularly important on T because the app does not need to be T on the app, the neg, which means that
okay, that's fine. Ready?
Yeah.
Cross-X. Let's talk about the app advocacy. You defend buyback schemes. We defend confiscation.
We had this conversation at team.
Okay. We'll have
mandatory buyback.
We can have a gun.
Okay, sure. You can get charged for
holding
a gun.
Sure, we'll have a TD debate again.
We'll not defend door-to-door confiscation.
Sure. Well, on that same note, let's talk about the RBI. You say neg gets T, but app doesn't. Why doesn't meta theory solve?
Because neg gets meta theory as well, so it doesn't seem to be a difference. Furthermore, I think like the answer of I guess there's
why is T specifically
like the RBI is like meta theory, right? Because the RBI is saying that if the neg reads the theory shell,
okay,
has
that's
lost
fine.
the debate.
That's fine. Let's just
so if RBI solves RBI.
Point to me a single card in the app that says gun bans your key.
I think the Donahue, the Giroux.
Okay, point to me. Those say gun control, not gun bans.
Donahue's talking about a mandatory.
Okay, point to me the word ban one time in the card.
It talks. Look,
I searched command. It was only in your tagline.
Yeah, because you looked for the wrong word.
I don't think I did. Point to me the word ban in any of your cards. Okay, it's not there. That's fantastic. So let's talk about the rest of the app then. You say you say we should focus on comparison of worldviews. Is the app based on is your framework so consequentialist?
No. So the argument is not so simple as saying frameworks are consequentialist or not consequentialist. The argument is that there are, under the rule of valid, not every single consequence is relevant to the question of the debate. Because it contextualizes the debate space not as a place where we answer the truth or falsity of the resolution based on some ethical.
But if you cause massive incarceration and suffering, isn't that still a tangible?
I mean, I think that the app doesn't do that, right?
But if I find it does.
That impact probably does impact that. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Then we're on the same page.
There's a question of the framing, which is, does it have a unique impact?
Okay.
Or not? So
your
it's a
Dixon
question of
99
whether or not
evidence.
the issue.
Your Dixon 99 evidence says we shouldn't look to realpolitik consequentialism. Let's say I have a policy that avoids backlash, but solves app better. Couldn't backlash be a tiebreaker, even if it's not as relevant as?
I mean, if you have an advocacy that solves better, that's a separate question, right? And that seems to reverse.
That's fine. Your Fendrug evidence is two sentences.
Yes.
Sure.
You actually have an advocacy that solves.
That's fine. Felix, you tag Fendrug 13 as saying a handgun ban crushes giants. This card is one sentence long. Where does it say handgun bans anywhere?
It does not say handgun bans anywhere. It gives a word that can be extrapolated to
it's literally just says.
Is that going to be a much more specific? Like, I don't understand what. So,
whoa.
Raffi, my confusion is that you keep saying none of these cards say anything about a handgun ban, but if they talk about gun control, a handgun ban is definitely more effective.
Why are handguns better than gun?
A handgun ban is like banning all guns. All my arguments establish that a gun is a strong internal.
Okay, should a woman be able to have a gun? Should a woman have a gun if a rapist comes up to her tonight to rape?
I think you misconceptualize the way rape and sexual.
It's a yes or no. Should they be able to shoot the person with a gun in that situation?
The answer should be there should be a gun ban, even if it's the case.
No, that doesn't answer my question. If she has a gun, is it justified to shoot the person who's attacking her?
I mean, it's a different question if she has a gun.
No, it's a yes or no.
Like in our world right now.
Yes.
Sure.
Great.
But that doesn't mean she should be able to own a gun.
What is disposability? If I show you worsen structural violence, does that impact back to the framework?
You're like, I'm not going to exclude your impacts based off of like some technical semantic
awesome.
word in the app.
Glad we're on the same page. 5 minutes of prep starting now. 352, 3 off, then the case.
Right.
On the case, there'll be the RVI, then an overview, and then on line by line some specific solvents. What? My email?
Like, did you email?
Oh, the speech talk's assembled. I'll send an email right now.
Did you say 3 out?
Yeah, 3 off.
Sorry, my word is just press like OCR.
What's your email?
I just sent you an email. Just reply.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's the right speech talk.
Alright, sorry. I don't want to do
Jeez, I feel cross with some shade. You got 5? 5 emails. Yeah, I think we are going to have the same few days last time.
Let me just open my docs.
Yeah, sure.
Wow, all my work.
Did that really come down?
It did not. Alright, oh god.
You got it?
Almost. Alright, you said 3?
3 off, yeah.
One's
What? Yeah, T counterplan design.
Yes.
Well, not in that order, though. First off is the counterplan.
This-
But you'll see. You good?
Yeah.
Cool. Everyone else good?
This is different.
It is different.
Alright, good.
Everyone else good? First off, the counterplan, I advocate Degrassi's method of moderate gun control. Degrassi shows. I will defend universal background checks required to license all the gun owners, safe storage requirements, space mechanisms, all guns, and national database of gun sales. These post regulation, moderate gun control, extensive gun control, good aggregate private ownership, B competition, one tax competition. You advocate for full gun, then we say guns are sometimes okay. Any permit severance out of the 1AC second ideological competition. We say guns are sometimes okay in some situations. We say gun culture is usually bad, not always bad. Means any permit severing out of the ideology we want to see. Say solvents, we solve gun violence better. Tons of measures. Degrassi 2. Universal background checks ensure people ought not be eligible, cannot purchase guns after exclusion, road safety in the same way currently checks do, require a license for all new gun owners, minimum passing rigorous safety courses, cut the card safety course, impact cap your physical solvency, outweighs stuff out of the AC, any strike ruling, probably universally say max of the AF. In terms of gun culture, we solve homicide much better than the AFTO. It's a tiebreaker issue, physical homicide. Since I solved the root cause, veto ways and look back to the favorite suicidability, people dying every day, it's obviously a tangible impact. CX was very clear, you cause massive harm. Next off is topicality. Interpretation. The AF has been confiscation of guns without a buyback scheme being in place. Hanging banter, I mean confiscation of guns through local law enforcement. Jacob shows. Who would enforce hanging starting program, national liberation, by making the federal program, what kind of federal enforcement to investigate unlawful hanging possession, and they fancy to develop consequences to be carved out by local law enforcement agencies, violation costs you advocate for buyback schemes, invested expertise, see standards, one field context, bans the U.S. aren't even buyback, and the only back programs that occur were for not even handguns. Matthews shows. Australia's non-control regime banned semi-automatic and automatic rifles and shot also into a mandatory buyback program. Really banned weapons many American trades. We also run the belt to emulate. Thus, buyback programs in Australia were for non-handgun programs. Field confiscated substance engagement. There's the big response against the AC second expertise. Buyback conditional for conditions of compensation, which is essential for a ban. It also means increased amount of funding, cross-branding guns, etc. Expertise an independent voting issue. If I can't prep against the AC, can't make responses. Which link terms limits can make answers against the AC 3 limits buyback programs. Really acts new advantages like econ advantages, constant compensation arguments, or remuneration for certain things, which means they can still limits or scoop out of neg offense, limits skill substance engagement. I can prep against the AC. The voter is substance engagement, classroom relevant topical issues. It's why we're in the first place. Outweighs the world about on 2 levels. 1, we control the internal link. If I couldn't engage the AC, I can't make good response overall. Yes, world about is true, but I can't engage the AC. Class control the link. Second, the top version the assault advocate for confiscation are after the top. It proves to do the same thing with a race-based AC. Means they don't get to weigh the case against T. No RBIs in T. 1 even T version. You should win for being topical. That's absurd. Means you should win for it. I'm fair between I'm not a fault, which outweighs second T trade RBS trade off with substance education. In my interpretation, true and bad, we should get back to topical discussion, which outweighs the impact back my voter. In itself, he dropped the debater, drops the entire advocacy, with the severance that can research on topical advocacy, sees my entire strategy, as they have new acts valid, and use complete interpretation in T norm setting, thinking of that in the future, which see my entire strategy, if their terms really bad, he's wrote them down. Next off. These bullies in this idea causing incarceration of blacks. There are 2 links. First, the hang advance called a war on guns, which is worse than the war on drugs. Koppel shows. The number of hand criminals will increase large number of drug criminals, hand criminals trouble to catch back to prohibition, we enforce the house searches, the number of generally handgun board, as versus the property Chicago more daily, and there's 4 procedures with handguns, which are hard to handgun, in violation of prohibition. Second link is court clog and full bed overwhelm the system, causing practical force and handgun specifically will trigger the impact. Couple 2. The drug drug in over the nation's prisons, the shop and run handguns that would make more drugs with small comparison, only criminals and gunners, they don't harm, they register the guns, only prevent swapping the court system, we enforce handguns sporadically, creating serious risks of select prosecution against minorities, while America certainly needs improved gun laws, all damage to overrun the criminal justice system is no place in our the impact is capitalism and U.S. globality causing modern-day slavery. Rodriguez 7. Bodies of in prison district more registers, under premiums require genealogy of state violence 32. The prison needs to be situated within political intercourses. I'm just genealogy contextualizes the continuities between domestic warfare and global technological violence. U.S. prison regime is a condensation of white supremacist state violence, card state violence, and the disinsurance case, one of the reasons probably all solitude missing or not empirically shown by shooting leads to more incidents occurring. It's empirically occurring, which outweighs the impacts of the framework. Second outweighs the simple harms, making it so much worse. You can't solve gun laws. People are stuck in prison the entire time. It's like countries off grassroots movements. Means this is a prior question to AC is a sequence of questions. You can't solve the root cause. Now, case. The RBIs. Group that choose spikes, you say negative flex, specifically 1 minute through solves back. You have the recipe, minute through is also better. It's a layer above T, and you can go for a new layer, and second trains evaluation. So new theory in the 1 layer solves back. Second, churn, you force you to overcome theory in the next speech, which skews my entire strategy, is I spend a lot of time engaging overall, which means you skew the entire 2R, which is bad. I only have 1 final speech, 3 turn, they speak first, last, skew. In fact, you get the first word and last word, frames the entire debate. Also, you get the collapse, you blip in the 1 which skews my entire strategy. Fourth, get faster, more efficient. No reason why you didn't RBI. Say, if you're not efficient enough, that's not my fault, so you should just cover better. Now, case proper. Place W won the counterplay co-ops 99 co-ops on the ACCX was so devastating. Even 40% part of the apps gun bans are key. They say gun control. I advocate for gun control. Means the counterplay scoops the entirety of the AC. If I have a risk of a disadvantage gun bans, you should vote negative. The counterplay does most of the AC anyway. Second, women have a right to choose. It means gun bans violate their right to freedom, which is tangible impact. Charles shows. Choice and necessary freedom. Women can just make good decisions for themselves, even perhaps especially in difficult situations. Abortion rights and gun rights allow what might be crucial private choices in extreme personal crises. The vast majority of women are honest with themselves. Could imagine a worst case scenario with the option of abortion. The same holds true for guns. Cut the card of guns. 3, the act will get rolled back. Courts hate gun bans. They will pull control. Bollock. All 50 states, 40% individual rights of self-defense, with state courts have held up a great majority. On modest gun control, they struck down total gun bans. Same like it happened with federal state and local gun bans. Total handgun bans, these will be struck down. Lesser gun control laws are almost certainly upheld. 3, the act causes substitution to have better weapons used overall, which worsens homicide, which non-meets the act. Koppel. Hard type gains are your substitution from all handguns with current case of handgun ban. Australian Canada handgun rates much lower. Handgun rates over much lower. The total homicide is over 100% greater. In Australia and Canada, number of sales switch rifles. Let's say increase the overall death toll. Cut the card death toll. Fourth the F causes backlash. We avoid the NRA will hate the AC, which causes tangible impact. Winkler. Advocates switch bans one type of gun, usually because it looks scary to the problem. Such bans don't reduce gun crime, but they stimulate a proposition from law-abiding gun owners. Approach to gun control can reduce the daily toll from guns. Bans like victory, but aren't the answer. Now, the alarm alarm on Nixon 99. Why? No real political situation. One, the CP solves compared to the AC. It is the same worldviews gap. The tie-breaking issues, homicide, to the kind of the same math to the one AC. Second, the opposite still causes massive backlash, which is still overall problematic. The framing is based in consequentialism, so backlash is bad. It still magnifies all the other impacts. Then, I'm not even about the cultural shift. When this evidence is awful, just as correlation, not causation, nothing that bans anywhere, means it worse than kind of scoops to AC. There's no reason why bans themselves are key. Then, off, while you question the NRA, first turn, you cause increase in the NRA. The NRA would hate the AC, cause more backlash, get more funding, empirically show when guns are banned, to the executive order, they have more backlash, more money, which magnifies all of impact. Second term, you lay off workers, and you question the NRA, which blames the wrong person. People who are working in the factories aren't bad people, you make them lose their jobs, which is obviously bad. Then, on Lafayette, why listen, Merck's your key. This evidence is correlation, not causation. Here's your own author, Lafayette. He has not resolved the issue, but only doesn't have my gun control advocates claim it does, really gun control is effective. A correlation shows many things related, does not tell its first cause a second. I marked it in second, and I didn't read Cook, but I read everything else in each chapter.
Sorry, what?
Didn't read Cook, but I read everything else.
Got it. Alright. Start on the status of the conflict.
Dispo.
Alright, what's the conditions?
Like any other argument. If you put defense on it, I don't have to go for it.
Any defense?
Defense on it, I don't have to go for it. If you put any straight from the counterpoint, I will go for it.
Right, any defense, like Psalm defense as well.
Yeah, that's defense.
Okay, cool. Alright, let's talk about the argument about backlash, the Winkler argument. What is the impact of this argument? It just says there will be opposition to the law. Why is there an impact?
Well, it means it worsens visibility. If people, for example...
Wait, The fact that rich white guys are like, oh, I hate the law, worsens
I was answering the question. It is backlash. It would cause things like
you say
targeting black people all the
What is
time.
backlash?
Backlash is when people would increase funding for the NRA, which is obviously
Sure,
tangible.
we'll deal with that argument later.
They
My
might
question
also target black people, like the KKK could attack black people because they're angry about the law.
So when we ban handguns, the KKK will start, we'll just revert back to 19.
They could be very angry about it. Yes, the evidence is very good at this question. And even if you
Really, the
don't think
evidence
backlash
talks about the KKK.
no, it discusses backlash occurring. Either way, though, even if you don't think backlash,
That's fine.
even if you don't think backlash is tangible,
Alright, where does it
it's a
actually say,
tiebreaker.
where does it actually say backlash here?
Sure.
Right, that's
They
the
stimulate. They
It
stimulate.
says, such bans don't, I'm
You're
going
going that way. I'm
to
answering the question.
read a line to the card.
Feel free. You're wasting your process.
It says, such bans don't reduce gun crime, but they do stimulate opposition from law.
Yes, stimulate passionate opposition from law-abiding
Where does
governments.
it make the extrapolation of passionate opposition to the law means killing black people?
If people are so bad as the AC shows, when you show people are racist who own guns,
Okay.
then they certainly backlash a lot.
Let's talk about the Copal evidence.
Sure.
It says that in countries like Australia and Canada, handgun homicide is lower, but the total homicide is over 100% greater.
Sure, the argument here is that you're
This is comparing it to Switzerland.
comparing to Australia, Canada, and Switzerland.
Yeah, it's comparing Australia and Canada to Switzerland.
Wait, I'm not sure where you're going.
Look, it says
Here, I can explain the
countries such as Australia and Canada.
I think you're misconstruing the word. The argument here is that, yes, you may lower handgun homicide, you cause more shotgun homicide and rifle homicide, which obviously turns
Right, so where does it say that there is more shotgun homicide? It says total homicide, which means knives, cars, everything, pushing people off buildings.
Well, overall, if you increase more homicide, it's obviously
Alright, and you just assume it's shotguns, that's fine.
Well, no, it
Alright,
says
let's talk about
multi-country setting.
So, question.
You know curious.
Your Copal evidence talks about how, sorry, not Copal, the Lafayette evidence talks about how gun control advocates claim that things don't work. Why does this not link to crime?
Oh, no, this is an evidence indict too, yeah. This
Right.
is saying
I will argue that it does not indict the act. My question is, it says gun control, you're
oh, no, this is saying that neither of us can resolve the illicit markets. This
Okay,
is,
so
this,
it's
the counterpoint does, yeah,
as well.
The argument, the argument is that you don't solve the illegal market, which you said in the act. So either way, the impact's not EV. We resolve the debate in other layers.
Let's talk about the Shell.
Sure.
You make an argument here that says the app can get new advantages. Explain to me, have you seen a single app on this topic that has an econ advantage? I'm confused actually. Like, where does the econ advantage come
Sure.
from?
I've seen
Like,
people.
we're spending money.
You could say, for example, the remuneration stuff is pretty good. I've had people answer in the 1A arguments.
Wait, what's the
You'd say, for example, we're giving people money for their guns. It's no impact of journalism.
So it's a defensive argument too.
Yes, but it's terminally defensive against the contingency.
Okay.
Which is like my favorite NC in this topic.
I guess you're just bad at debating the contingency.
No, I think I'm pretty good at
I can use
contingencies.
it to buy it back.
Okay, we'll have that debate.
Alright, let's go.
Pretty good at contingencies. That's fine.
So the counterpoint is comprehensive background checks, right?
There are a lot of things.
I know there's like safety procedures, classes, safes, whatever.
Yeah, ATF regulations of guns.
What's ATF regulation?
Well, the ATF is the alcohol and.
I know what they are, but what do you do with them?
Oh, sure. It would increase the program that monitors people who have guns. The counterpoint spikes out a lot of stuff in there. gonna get water. I'll be right back. Oh, what did I miss?
Nothing, just.
Are you reading any new evidence?
Yes.
How much did you have?
47.
47.
Oh no, flash.
Oh yeah, yeah, same.
Okay, it's in the same zone.
Oh, cool.
Just in here. Alright, the order is theory, case, counterplan, dissect, and then if I have time,
Oh, so new off at the very end.
yeah, if I have time. I don't anticipate having that much time, so I might not just do it. I might just give some interview stuff. But if I do, I'll just get to it.
Is it still on the speech doc?
Yes.
I don't switch. I just see the one you see.
Wait, you have to. Did you open the new?
Yeah. Oh, I see this.
Okay, no, that's not it. Wait, did you? I just sent an email.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, it popped up on my. Yeah. Oh, this is for me.
Yeah, you're gonna want.
That?
No, that was that.
Yeah.
No,
Do you mind resending it?
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I sent it as a reply to the message that you sent me. So if you want to see it, it's a reply there.
I'll refresh my.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so.
Alright, I'll just send it to you.
Thanks. Yeah, sorry about the computer stuff.
You should just use Gmail and stuff, it's just Apple.
I love my AOL.
Oh, wait, you use AOL, right?
AOL's great. From like 2005, but it's great.
Alright, I sent it.
AOL doesn't work in the school Wi-Fi? Got it.
Good?
Send it over to me. Good.
Alright, sure.
Are you studying the counter? Oh, no, nothing's in the file. It's the same file as before.
Oh, this is my fault, never mind.
Oh, you
I just didn't save. Like,
Oh,
press.
Felix.
I'm sorry. Usually I flash, so I don't have to worry about that. Alright. One more time. Alright, now we're good.
As soon as I.
Yeah. T's at the very bottom for some reason, but who's first?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Almost good. We just get back.
Alright.
Okay. Yep.
Is everyone ready?
Mm-hmm.
Counter-interpret. The act does not defend a specific policy of confiscation if they defend a manager by receiving the possession of criminal offense and they have a solvency after SOE 92 is the solvency after the right interpretation. Proposed handgun legislation prohibits the manufacturer sale, possession of handguns established a grace period during which a handgun can be returned to law enforcement for reimbursement. This evidence is context in terms of the United States. Furthermore, it's the only piece of legislation that has ever been advocated within the United States Congress in the context of a handgun ban, which means definitely more contextual solid literature, which means I control internally to all of your arguments in terms of predictability and limits. Now, we saw internal all your offense. One subpoint is that we defend possession is criminal, which gives you links to criminal justice dissent. For example, the Gorbachev said there is no reason why your particular dissent that you say that I lose this particular key to that ground. Also, it proves that it is normal means. There are always additional parts of the affirmative. For example, the resolution does not specify a bill passing through Congress. The resolution does not specify the Supreme Court changing their decision. But these are things that are normal means. If I have legislation that says that it's normal means, then that means it is, which means that you should predict that you should just be dissent. That any inclusion of more affirmative ground also includes more negative ground, which means it's not a question of extra topicality just because there's more ground. It's a question of whether you should predict the answer is yes. Now, also, buyback is literally the only other mechanism. We have a solvency after the Congress in the U.S., which means there's no explosion of limits where we should predictability. Literally, every single affirmative topic talks about predictability. Furthermore, it's only modeled within Australia. You see that Australia did it for other types of guns, but it still can be extrapolated. This means it's the best form in terms of evidence. Also, flexibility outweigh your interpretations will literally the applicants defend one type of plan. We need that flexibility in order to hedge against negative case of the enforcement and reactionary one. It's also good for developing the best possible solvency. I think there lets the next share get the worst possible affirmative so they can start questions of gun ban and enforcement that we agree is terrible. Now, the case of it, here's the problem with the case of it. You conceded the framing issue, which is that disposability outweighs all your impacts, causes disposability of both people and gender bodies, which means that it causes things like your impacts in the first first place. There are criminal justice arguments do not have any terminal uniqueness because those things will always happen in the world of the militaristic culture, which means that we control the uniqueness and try it out for the app. The other argument you conceded is derived from 15 evidence, which indicates that the NRA is literally gaining power now. Every single time we have a mass shooting because guns exist, the NRA gets stronger. Every single time the NRA creates more programs to recruit children, the NRA gets stronger, which means that backlash is inevitable because it's already happening now. There's no terminal uniqueness to any of your arguments, which means it's tried out for the app. Any chance that we reverse the culture is definitely strong. Now, I'll go for two solid arguments that you can see. The first argument is the federal government, which indicates that a gun ban would collapse the system. You say that gun control is definitely not sufficient because gun control still people get money, which is a terminal difference between the counterplan and the federal evidence, which indicates that a large restriction like a gun ban would collapse them, which means that they were no longer be able to fund the NRA. The NRA would no longer be able to access politicians, which means we call for 100% of the internal link to the NRA argument, which means that only the app is possibility of solving for that. Second problem is the Yonke argument. You say you access the same internal link, but no, you do not solve for gun availability. That's a law by evidence. It indicates that it's partial through supply side. Criminals do not get their guns in the first place from things like legally buying it in the first place. We're not going through background checks. Rather, they get it from people who buy it legally, which means that if people can buy it legally and they stay well in the counterplan, you still don't solve for availability, which means you don't solve for Yonke because guns are still reminded as a solution to people's problems, which means that you do not solve for that. Furthermore, it's not a question of masses like your attention of the counterplan. It's a question of what the government symbolically affirms to child does not happen with the counterplan. Now, the counterplan. Oh no. Your only net benefit is a question of women. There are a few problems with this. First is that your defense of guns is gender chamali. The recent arguments about the gun lobby reflect ignorance. First, women being raped are unlikely to shoot these people. The person is noticing them. Studies indicate that guns are used defensively in sexual assault. 0.1% of the cases. Also, your arguments are just empirical false. NCR can be a woman is far more likely to be the victim of use than handgun forever use. A handle is part of defense. 83 women are murdered in general firearms are really used in self-defense, which means the active outweighs in terms of net benefit. Now, the last argument is substitution effect. You can see the Giroux argument at the bottom, which means if you can see the role of ballot questions about imaginating an inadequate future, which means that we should just give the longest kind of question of whether or not we say that. Furthermore, even if we have substitution, that just means that there is no solvency in the crime. The crime's not controlling the act's question changing culture, which is only the act does. Now, on the counterplan, here's the problem with the counterplan. This is the right message. There are three reasons. First point is that Steve can't ask the world frames the restoration of rights to private guns. Fundamentally reflects a higher level of view that costs nearly more individual peace. The point is that the gun people maintains a video on guns, the ultimate solution to individual problems. Cost amortization is an act that with the deed. And the state determines who qualifies who needs a gun, which means that most everybody would get a gun in the first place. Also, the law by proves that you have to use a supply type approach, which gun control cannot do, which means that that means that your law by net, which is exactly the same that gun control is not working. Again, it is. Now, on the dissent. First is that guns increase the risk of militarization, which means that we turn your argument to prevent 512. Further, more than 300 million guns, police must resume their work. So we had only been trained by responding to active shooters, and we were taught to be aggressive. Race was not a factor, but police error is compounded by the fear of armed citizens. Also, the negatives grow, and gun control, which means there's minimal link differential because the impact is linear about logarithmic, since the internal link is limited enforcement resources, which is your threshold. Gun control alone gives police the excuse they need for selective enforcement, which means that the counterplan leaves.
Can you delete everything you didn't read, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up with it? On the counterplan, you only read the A and B points there, right?
C as well.
Oh, C as well? Okay.
We're in tech though, but not.
Are you? Okay. I have 352. I'll start that. Wait, did you delete the counterplan thing? I don't see this in the speech document.
It should.
I'm just going to pause prep for a second. I think you accidentally deleted the counterplan answers.
Oh yeah, whoops. Here, let's do some Control Z.
Yeah, okay. I think that's good. I just need to see the counterplan.
Yeah, here we go.
starting with the counterinterp. Once I finish the counterinterp, it'll be my shell top down, then it'll be disadd and the case. I'm reading 2 new cards. Do you want those?
Yeah, sure.
It's at the very bottom of the speech doc I read.
Okay.
Underneath the pocket's called the NR.
That's fine.
Okay, sent. Yeah, it's very bottom of the speech doc.
Okay. Just give me a second. You said the very bottom?
Yep.
Oh my
And on
God.
the counterchart will be an overview of a few arguments, then top down on your counter.
Okay.
The 2 cards there, I'm reading against the counterinterpretation itself.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, ready?
Wait, I haven't commented this in a long time. Got it.
Ready?
These cards.
Everyone else good?
Yeah.
Felix, you should have read the new off in the speech doc because you're clearly not winning the top level issue. T is a voting issue that was conceded. He has no competitive counterinterpretation. He says he has to have a solvency advocate, but his solvency advocate is something entirely different. So, place over the 2 major problems on T first, competing interpretation, I have a risk of offense. He conceded all 3 of my standards in the last speech. I have a risk of offense back to those. Even if he wins his counter standards, my standards are all entirely conceded. So in the paradigm of debate, you should vote next second. He has no offense back to you. The counterinterpretation itself, really voter I read in the last speech. I read a substantive engagement-based voter. He's impacts back to fairness-based offense, engaged in dividends-based and negative clash to the AC. He has no internal explain means vote negative risk of offense. Now, the longer one on the counterinterpretation proper. First, he violates it. It's not actually handgun ban. It's domestic disarmament for all guns. The article said it was domestic disarmament, not a handgun ban. That was from Etzion Helen, author, which proves to be second. You violate as well. Domestic disarmament is disarming the police, not the private people. Etzion Helen, your own author. One thing, domestic disarmament prowls back to all Western democracies. Domestic disarmament entails removal of all arms from the private hand. Also, once the police force 3, you violate the office expertise, includes a million other things, and you can see actually the voting issue as well. You have to include a lot of other disarmament. Etzion Helen too. Domestic disarmament, gun manufacturer liable for harm done to weapons and instilled ammunition. Domestic disarmament is street compelling vision, which can be said about gun control. Here's the framing issue of the counterinterpretation. Your argument say domestic disarmament good. That was your solvency advocate. It's an entirely different policy, not gun bans. See, this is very clear. Coming out of the 1 AR means he violates the text on counterinterpretation. Now, the longer line, your first standard is that you say it's criminal possession, but you can still go for the actual benefits at the AC, like the concept that taken the competency or econ advantage. Even if I get the Gorbich discount, I use a lot of other net ground, which keep for convenient interpretations. Your second standard said the buyback the mechanism. First turn, you can see never actually had buyback for handguns. See, it was very clear. You can see the evidence why buybacks were for all guns, not handguns. Previously, no normal means. Second, holding to the 1 AR extrapolation, you super clearly have last speech. You know empirical examples. We're talking examples of Chicago that obviously had things like confiscation, not a buyback. Your third standard is flex. One is overcompensation. And they can go for NAC this topic. Like they can go for the DVROs app. They can go for the terror watch app, etc. No limits for afflex entail, which is bad. Second, here's a case that you can make a lot of good arguments on my interpretation. Our race app's an example of an app that advocates for confiscation, distilled topical thing. It's never away the case. Now the shell. You can say literally 3 standards, a lot to do system abuse way in here, and you go down, you send interpretation of Jacobs, they have to have for confiscation of handguns, it's in the violation, not the other things. There are 3 conceded standards. In the first one, a field context, Matthews, that Australia's law was based on buybacks for other guns, not for handguns, but confiscation for handguns. Australia, Chicago proves impact capture, race arguments, alien impact violation. I give empirical examples. He has no cities whatsoever on his interpretation. The two are very pretty on this issue, but I have empirical cities that had confiscation of Chicago as the dissad proves, which outweighs their offense. B, it controls the highest impact engagement. It can't engage the AC. It's not fair. So the second standard, extra T, your AC, includes things like funding provisions, to influence buyback, which is an independent voting issue. He conceded that entirely. It works to fall back and strength of like the app includes other things to ensure money's bill. That is in third standard limits. Your AC so you can do so many other things, like extra topical benefits. For example, you can go for the defensive competency with limits to your office. Any voter of substantive engagement, clashing relevant topical propositions. It's hard to debate. Voters were conceded. T's no risk. Probably should have conceded 3 standards. Now the counterplay. Not going to go for it. Concede second response means you can't solve the AC. That's defensive best. All we know the dissad outweighs the case and was a linear scenario. Now the dissad. There were 2 links to this I read in the last week. I read core clog and also policing links in. He didn't respond to either of those. 15 seconds is not going to cut it. Now I'll extract your arguments. I'll extend it proper. Your first answer says the guns are increasing in the status quo. Police law from there are more guns present. One is empirically not true. Doesn't remember handguns specifically. Our literature said handguns being bad, not guns general specificity. Obviously goes my way. Whereas Braver says guns in a vacuum are bad. Second, empirically not true. The war on drugs proves they police more often when there are fewer guns present, which magnifies all the impacts anyway, which makes it false. 3, empirically denied. I have empirical reason they police more. Chicago is an example of the app solvency speculative past. or actually worse the situation. Your second response is the negative status quo. One is the question of linear impacts. You cause more policing, more incarceration. Things can always get worse to some extent, which magnifies the F impact. Second, vote negative, risk of offense. You can see the core clogs are clogged the status quo, which means you activate impacts. Now, the alarm bells. Firstly, with couple, they cause more policing. The evidence is fantastic. The police more often. Chicago proves that's cycling as well, which was core clog. The one I see over the entire criminal justice system. Courts are on the brink right now, and the police practically forced in. This independently wastes all your offense on magnitude. The courts are clogged right now, and no police more often when there are guns. Here's the argument. The courts right now have a heavy burden of cases. If handguns ban the force only against minorities. That link was entirely conceded. No material storytelling there. It was entirely conceded. Now, if I win the dissent, you vote neg, he concedes all the impact bring by the dissent trans case, X the impact from Review 7, police is essentially use globality, and part of capital domination, X the first impact of the trans case, and away from probability, all solvency is non-existent or non-empirical. CX was so clear, but empirically showed it worse than policing. So, dissent trans case, Wang was conceded. Now the case. On the overview at the very top, you say disposability comes prior, but I'll concede that, but I win in term listed disposability. People being incarcerated every single day is obviously disposable. The impact I was entirely conceded. Now the overviews. I made the case. You're conceding so many reasons why the app is bad. It's in the second part with Charles, the affirms women especially. They have a right to choose their own life path. Both your responses really miss the boat. You say that women are harmed by guns more often. One of the questions of essentializing. You can't choose for them. They have a right to choose their own life path. Yes, it could be bad. They have a right to choose, though. That was the Charles stuff in the overview. It means you speak for them. Second, empirically not true. Empirically not true. I'm making sure people don't have guns anyway. Criminals wouldn't have guns, but women would have guns, would solve back to root cause. And third point is, well, the ball, if the app would get rolled back later on, that's becoming popular, which is terminal defense the one you see, the app that gets rolled back and doesn't actually happen. That means you vote negative presumption or risk of the dissent being true. It's immediate effect to the app. If you let you can see the app gets rolled back, that's game over. But now, line by line. The problem is he has no real solvency. He extends on E15 cultural shift. He can see my first response. This correlation, not causation, reason why guns themselves are key, which is terminal defense there as well. You have no reason why you actually solve the cultural shift. Then you extend fundamental when NRA is bad. You can see my first response. He worsened the NRA, massive backlash. Empirically shown, gun bans cause more funding for the NRA, which outreach arguments on link back to the framework. Then you finally extend Lafayette and say that you break the little market. But you can see my response. Your own author actually flows neg. You have no real solvency. It's correlation, not causation. Evidence in right there. Look, the one I didn't know when. The top layer and substance of the disad is he's continuing weighing that outweighs the probability and risk of harm. I'm also running the app that's rolled back with a terminal defense, so you go negative risk of a disad.
You go for women, need guns, and rollback, right?
Yeah, and then also terminal defense on the app.
The Lafayette defense.
And also the
Rollback is from sure.
No, and also non-new and bedrock defense.
What was your bedrock defense?
That would like increase NRA funding.
Oh, okay. Alright. So order's going to be T, case, and the dissad. On the case debate, I'll start with like an overview at the very top.
Are you starting with counter-interpretation?
I mean, I flow it side by side.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I guess.
I flow on separate sheets.
Alright.
What was that?
So T, I guess you can say starting with counter-interpretation. Then the case debate. On the case debate, I'll do an overview to the substance like debate. So you can put it at the top, and then the dissad. Alright. Is everybody ready?
Yep.
The counter-interpretation must be the answer is not defended Paul's the door of confiscation if they defend a natural violence in possession of criminal offense. The solvency after that has a solvency at SU92. Your arguments are just that SU92 also for domestic armament, for example, of all guns as well as of police. But this is just an argument as to why my advocates say that we have to go farther. Sure, that might be the case, but I would say the part that talk about proposed handgun legislation, which means that definitely it does exist. I do mean my interpretation. Also, their domestic sovereign is arguing about how ultimately their position is that nobody should have guns in the world, even police. Which means that it does not mean that the answer not part of that, which means that I still be my interpretation. Yes, you might be correct. If I defended all of SU in hell, now I would be interested, but I never said that. I went for the proposed handgun legislation, which is definitely possible. The question was whether or not buyback is part of that, and the answer is definitely yes. There are three arguments that you can see that are net benefits to my interpretation. First argument is the app flexibility, or even completely conceded, which is that your term is literally the app that there's one plan. We need app flexibility in determining the plan mechanism and the enforcement mechanism of the question in order to be able to hedge against the negative picks on the enforcement and reaction. Where see, for example, the net could just be that we should just have a handgun ban. Felix said we should have a mandatory buyback scheme instead of a compensation argument. It is content. See, it's net benefit, which means that we never be able to talk about the affirmative, which is net benefit. Why? If substance engagement never happens to be your interpretation because you just read a bunch of pegs. You have conceded this would be that is net benefit to my interpretation. You also don't really any ground. You concede eternal defense to all your arguments. All your arguments beg the question whether or not it's executing the first place. If I win a piece of argument that says that it is part of normal means, for example, in a proposed legislation in the United States, that means that it is the only thing that can possibly happen. Yes, there are a bunch of extra steps that have to happen that is not included in the resolution. For example, signing the bill. For example, the Supreme Court rollbacking its original decision on whether or not guns are actually banned, which means that every single affirmative has an extra element. So the question of whether or not it's acceptable or not, as it's acceptable, that you should just be able to pick these answers. Furthermore, you can just read arguments like the Sophie principle, like every single person has been reading. Buyback is really predictable. Almost everybody's reading, which solves for all your predictable arguments. Which means that the top calculate is over. Now in the case of it, here's the problem. You go for a linear disad in response to the affirmative that sets up a ton of Troy framing in the last feature, which is you're going to be your downfall. You consider the impact framing as well as the rule of that, which means your job as a judge is to reject the space that allows responsibility as a paradigm of governing policies, which is not a question of individual lives being sacrificed. Yes, that is an impact, but it's a question of being able to change it, because you consider two things. First thing is that the impact costs the presidential complex and subversive, which means that we have a culture of militarism, that the presidential complex will always find ways to screw over people, which means that even if you're correct that there's a marginal linear impact in the short term, the long run is much more favorite because your impacts are inevitable in the first place, which is to try to die, which means that they're not disads, they're just defensive arguments that do not actually take 100% the case. So the second problem is that you can see that the NRA is always getting stronger and that your culture is always repeating. They're literally recruiting children, which means that the presidential complex will always get stronger, capitalism and neoliberalism will always get stronger. You cannot resolve for anything because you defend the status quo and you do not go for the counterpart, which means that it's try to die. You should not keep the counterpart. That's your example. Now in the case of it, you conceded that women fundamentally misunderstand the way structure is taught. You say it's a question of deciding, but the question is the plan better than the status quo? The answer is yes. Yes, some women might be guns, but the overall majority of people are hard-minded, which means that you definitely should default to the affirmative. The next argument is a question of rollback. You can see the rollback, which is a question of whether or not the act is a good idea. Yes, maybe from a FIFA standpoint, it might be rollback. That is irrelevant to the question of debate because it's not. Furthermore, if you roll back, then there's no offense anyways, and you should just go after because the rollback indicates the worldview of the affirmative is good, which means that I have a better offensive position. Now, on the dissent, here's a problem. Your arguments concede a terminal union this came. Your impact is inevitable. You have no link to infringement. You concede that the neg is the status quo, which means it already has gun control, which means that people have the excuse they need in order to enforce a gun ban because they have the excuse to have differential enforcement. The fact that they have an excuse to say you should have a gun means that they'll enforce it differentially anyways, because there's no link to infringement.